Welcome to Retro Glance. In these videos I will be exploring the horror of the bygone days. While I look forward to the latest releases in the horror genre with relish, I find it equally pleasurable and rewarding to seek out the best in horror from decades past. While atmospherically and aesthetically different to what the majority of horror filmmakers are produced in the modern era, we can certainly learn and see from where they got their influences. To build the walls and the ceiling, you must first acquaint yourself with the fundamentals of the foundations. As with more recent movie recommendations, I am always curious to know what my viewers are watching. If you, horror fan, have seen anything new or old you would like me to check out for a possible review, or just to spread the knowledge of a hidden gem you have unearthed in the minds of horror film history, let me know either on social media or in the comments section of any of my YouTube videos. I am active on Twitter at eyes_wide_cut and Instagram at eyes_wide_cut_podcast. At both you will find images and snippets from my videos and the occasional post about a movie I haven't or will not review, but I'm just throwing out there into the ether that is the internet. To begin our journey back in time, to take one more glance at the past, we are starting with Mario Bava's 1964 murder mystery Blood and Black Lace. With free and legal streaming websites like Tubi, internet dwellers now have easy access to a plethora of classic movies. Tubi offers a large selection of quality old and modern movies, while Midnight Pulp gears its horror to older works and the exploitation genre. I highly recommend visiting both of them. On Tubi we can find a multitude of movies by the Italian horror giants Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci and Mario Bava. While Fulci is mostly known for his extreme gore, and Argento for his colourful dynamic films full of black leather and sharp knives, Bava seemed to work with more classic horror tropes. In his anthology film Black Sabbath, we are presented with three spine-tingling horror stories, each more beautiful and atmospheric than the last. The final part of that movie certainly shares a bond with Blood and Black Lace, at least on a visual level. As a fan of anthology horror ranging from Tales of the Crypt, Creepshow, the recent throwback VHS series, and the analog horror stories of YouTube channels like Gemini Entertainment, I enjoyed Black Sabbath and recommend it to all viewers of this channel. Mario Bava was born in 1914 in San Remo, Italy. While his father worked as a cinematographer in the Italian film industry, Bava studied painting and eventually went on to work in film photography, following in his father's footsteps. He became particularly well known for using special optics to create special effects in the early parts of his career. Beginning with his work on The Devil's Commandment in 1956, his work inspired a new wave of gothic horror pictures. While parts of Bava's filmography encompasses spaghetti westerns, action, and even soft-core pornography, his horror movies are what truly defined his filmmaking. My own limited experiences with Bava's work only amount to a few movies, as I am currently diving into his catalogue. As a fan of Lucio Fulci, I have been keen to delve into Italian horror cinema, as in particular the visual flair of the movies of the 70s and 80s make for an altogether different experience than, say, American or British horror. While being lukewarm on Argento, my favourite of his films being Suspiria and Opera, I had some trepidation upon watching Black Sabbath. However, the storytelling and the masterful use of mise-en-scene I found compelling, and inspired me personally to want to pick up a camera and experiment with coloured lights and dark, eerie compositions. The final segment in Black Sabbath mostly takes place in the apartment of a recently deceased matriarch. The apartment is lit with a mix of blue and pink backlighting and dark cut-in shadows. Creepy ancient medieval night costumes stand in the hallway, staring down any visitors like mannequins from a dead age. The grand homes and apartments of the beautiful ladies that are mercilessly picked off one by one in Blood and Black Lace certainly share the same interior designer. In one gorgeous home, the knights make their return, and this time are put to practical use as an effective hiding place for the mysterious demonic white masked killer. We encounter the killer in the first scene of the movie on a stormy, rain-drenched night in front of a fashion house. Aside from the white face covering that makes him resemble a man without a face, as one gas station employee later describes to the police, he wears a black rimmed hat, a black trench coat and black gloves. It is here in his fashion that he could make an appearance in, say, opera, as one of Argento's evil madmen. After he strangles to death one of the models, Isabel, we are introduced to the leading players in Blood and Black Lace. The rich owner of the house and her manager preside over a bunch of beautiful women. Contessa Cuomo, the weary, widowed owner of the house, has recently lost her husband in a tragic car crash. She agitatedly questions where Isabel is to her confidant, Massimo Molacci, and remarks that she ought to be fined heavily for yet another instance of lateness. Cuomo replies that she may just fire her. Upon discovering her beaten body in a closet, however, we are brought into a spiral of bribery, lies, and devastatingly nasty murder. Quite what the masked man's motives are, we are initially unsure, but we soon learn that it is Isabel's diary that he is after. What secrets may it contain? Before we are privy to many of them, the diary is burnt by one of Isabel's pretty colleagues before the killer can pry it from her. He does, however, proceed to torture and burn her in brutal fashion. When all said and done, Blood and Black Lace has quite a predictable and formulaic plot when compared to more modern whodunit mysteries. The twist ending is quite obvious before it arrives. What sets the movie apart is the striking cinematography, intelligent use of shadows and lighting, and the unflinching violence, which does feel altogether real. The opening scene of belting wind and rain, gothic statues, and the tall, dark fashion house that is so near but so far from Isabel is stunningly shot with meticulous angles and tracking shots. Bava plays with shadow to keep us glancing into the background, left and right, to pick out where the psycho masked killer might be hiding, lying in wait for his prey. He uses bright red mannequins with glistening, shiny fake, jet black hair, green body-shaped clothes holders for dress adjustments, and at the conclusion, a vivid red phone that you might find in a David Lynch movie. Such use of reds, pinks, greens and other garish colours certainly define the Giallo horror of Dario Argento, but I find the way that Bava used them in his juxtapositions far more satisfying than in Argento's work. It is perhaps just an element of taste as to which you enjoy. They bring an almost supernatural quality to what is, at least in Blood and Black Lace, a very human tale of deceit, betrayal and disappointment. Not a perfect movie by any means, but one that is very much worth a retro glance.